Leviticus 25 and Exodus chapter 21 are two of the most difficult passages in the Bible to deal with, whether it be from a Christian or from a non-Christian. These two passages, as this video is about, condone slavery in these kinds of ways. Exodus 21 is the passage referring to Israelite slaves, about how masters can beat their slaves. And in Leviticus 25, verses 44 through 46, this passage is specifically about Hebrews, Israelite people, owning non-Hebrew foreigners as slaves. Literally, they are called property in a couple of these places in that particular passage. So, what can the Christian do with this kind of idea? What can the Christian say in response from these types of objections from atheistic thinkers? And what can they just do to just ponder these ideas in any route that they may be pondering or questioning these ideas? Why would God have slavery in the Bible? Why would God allow slavery in the Bible? So, one way that Christians have historically responded to this idea is a plethora of passages, whether it be Galatians 3:28, or we see a lot of Genesis 1. But today I'll be taking a route from an argument that's basically has to do with a progressive revelation from God. So God, when He reveals things, is revealing them to people of that day and age. He is not revealing them to you or I. So God is slowly progressing these societies, these cultures, morally and ethically, and theologically. So that shouldn't be surprising at all. An analogy would be perfect with the theological concepts, because the theological concepts grow and go and develop over time. God reveals something else about Himself, just like He may reveal something more morally. He's trying to progress one culture in a particular way, and that takes time. So, one of the main passages that's used to support this idea is Matthew chapter 19, where Jesus is questioned on the topic of divorce. And he's questioned, that if God was against divorce, then why would He allow Moses, who's writing in the place of God, as in has a message from God, why would Moses allow for divorce in the Torah? And Jesus responds by saying, well, the only reason that God allowed that to be so is merely because of the hardness of the human beings' hearts of that day and age. Their hearts were hard, so that's why God kind of met them in the middle and said, look, I will allow for it right now, but it's something I want to get rid of. And this is why when Jesus comes, Jesus says no more. Now, that isn't to say that people cannot break these ideas or rules, if you want to call them that. But the point is that it progressively got to a particular place, and then Christians later went even a little deeper into that. So, analogously, you can compare this with slavery. God didn't want slavery, but it was just a cultural norm of that day. Cultures of all sorts always accepted slavery. It was a regular and normal thing of every single culture, up into the times of the abolitionist movement. So, because of this, we can see where God would allow it for a particular time, and even have ideas of why and how to do so, just like He did about divorce in the Old Testament. But it doesn't mean that He's for it. It doesn't mean that He is accepting of it. It's just that He has to allow it of this particular culture in this particular day. Another passage that helps us in this concept is Jeremiah chapter 34. Verses 8 through 22, specifically because this passage is trying to tell us about God being quite upset with the Israelites for enslaving their fellow Israelites once again. As we've talked about from the Exodus passages, the Hebrew slaves were to be released particularly in every 7th year. This is an example of the indentured servitude. Not chattel slavery like we see in Leviticus 25. So, what's going on here is that God is upset that they have broken this rule, this law that God had put forth to protect these individuals so that they don't have to be a slave for literally their entire life and indentured servitude their entire life. And they have laws and freedom to be able to do these kinds of things. So the point is this, is that the Jews, the argument here, I should say, is it goes something to this sort. The Jewish concept of the Promised Land, as in this is where the Jews start with Yahweh, because Yahweh disinherited the nations at the Tower of Babel from Genesis 11, and expressively taught in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 8 and 9. What's going on here is that the whole point of this Jewish concept is to get Yahweh, the God of Israel, all the way to all of the other nations. So, if this is a law for the Israelites, the point is that it's going to be a law for everybody, not just the Israelites, but for all. And then God is going to progressively even go deeper into that, as we see with Christian abolitionist movements, as for the first time with the Protestant Reformation. They finally were able to use these particular passages like Genesis 1, like Galatians 3:28, and whatnot, to provide this idea that this is not right. And this is one way that Christians have always responded. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you guys think down below.